go. We are replacing a rear wheel seal on my 04 Duramax. When wheel seals go bad, this is typically what they do. Me and the family have a trip scheduled for tomorrow morning, and of course, the truck decides to be broken during that time. My daughter is 3, and ever since I put the rooftop tent on the shop truck, she has been asking to go camping. So this trip has a couple different agendas. It is my daughter's first camping trip, and that is the primary reason that I planned this trip. I want to take her camping and have a bunch of fun. But I'm also going to propose to her mother. I think we're going to hike to a spot that her and I have been before. It's a big spot in Kentucky called Natural Bridge. I think we're going to hike up there, and while we're up there, I'm going to ask her to marry me. If she says yes, I'll post this video. If she says no, I'll still post the video. I'll just be a little bit more sad. That one's loose. Unfortunately, the way Chevrolet designed these things, this upper slide pin doesn't come out without the bracket. You gotta pull the whole bracket off to get that slide pin out. Go. Covered in rear end fluid. Oh yeah, all the nastiness. Yeah. Ton of brake clean on that, try and get all that rear end fluid off my brakes. There's this little orange ring here that holds a locking block under this nut. Now, there is a tool for pulling these out. Yeah, this one's loose. Not very tight at all. When you don't have the tool, you can use a punch and a hammer. I'm not going to have to do that because I'm moving this by hand. There's the ring. See if I can get this to come out without having to get a pair of pliers. So there's a that locks that nut in place. There's a groove right here on the axle that slides in. There we go. Okay. Went from being a one-piece seal to being a two-piece seal. So here's our new wheel seal, all in one piece. And we are going to pop it in here. Now, usually when I do this, I pull the bearings apart, I clean them real good, check them over, which these are all in fluid, so you can see it really good, they're not packed. And what I look for on these little rollers, you'll see some pitting and scoring, like I can see some heat marks on them, but the rear end wasn't making any noise. These look good, they feel good. You know, the cup and the cone both look good. The race down inside the hub here looks great. Usually what I'll do is walk around these with a hammer, which you can do. It works great. I mean, this end's already almost all the way installed. I'm just going to use this for, you know, I have it, why not? Ta-da! Give it another just in case. And that seals in. What I do when I'm pre-filling these I'm going to hold this about level like this. You can see where the rear bearing is back in there. So I'm going to fill it up to about where that cone is. The reason I'm doing that is when I take off in the truck, the rear end fluid is going to be distributed out to this hub, but it's going to take a minute. And I don't want to be running on dry bearings at first. It can cause some damage to your bearings, and that's just not good. So I like to pre-charge these with a little bit of fluid. That way, until it starts slinging it up from the actual axle, I know my bearings have fluid up in there. They're getting some type of lubrication, so they're not going to overheat and have issues. What I'm doing here, I'm tightening this bearing preload nut down, and I'm rotating the hub. What that's going to do is it's going to take the bearing within the race, it's going to seat it. Now, when you have the tool, you can do this with a torque wrench and do it to the factory specifications for setting bearing preload and everything. I don't have that right now. Typically what you like to see is somewhere around 50 foot-pounds of final torque on these. You don't want them super tight, but when you're setting them and getting everything seated, you take it much tighter. If you leave them too tight, your bearings will overheat. Wear your bearings out and you'll hear them when you're driving. You'll hear them doing what I call singing. We're trying to make sure these bearings stay good for a long time. So we'll tighten them down, seat them, and then back this nut back off before we'll put it all back together. As you spin the hub, you should feel it start to get easier to spin. That tells you things are starting to line up the way they want to be. So I believe we've got our seating done. So we'll take and usually I'll do a half a turn off. Get everything kind of freed up. And take it back in. Bit and turn to get your gearing lined up. There we go. On axles, I always Loctite. You don't have to use a ton. See, I just got stripped. Just like anything else I torque when it comes to wheels and things, crisscross pattern. There we go. All done.